Hi everyone, it's Mikael. Today we're going to learn some shoulder wrap, which will be the fundamental to learn the metrics. Shoulders wrap are a lot of fun. They are quite simple in the motion, but they help us to work on really awkward parts our body, which will be like this connection just around the armpits between our arm and the shoulder here, and connecting it to the neck. And this is a place where I feel not so naturally willing to work with it, but with learning shoulder wrap, movement like the matrix and other trick later on will be so much easier. In this tutorial, we will be focusing on two variations that you can learn easily with the shoulder wrap, and also some extension of the movement and how to have fun with it. And in the next video, we will learn the matrix. I will more often now break down the preparation for our tricks, then the tricks themselves, to avoid having too long tutorials because some person requested to have them a tiny bit shorter. I will try my best, but if I also want to give you like clear explanation, breakdown, tips, and how to avoid some mistake, there will definitely not be 5-minute tutorial because I want to give you the maximum I can in this tutorial, like if we do a one-on-one session. Let's start with the breakdown of the first variation. The first one will be really similar of a neck wrap than we already learned in the previous video, but this time, so we still start with like the staff parallel to the ground. This is really important. But this time, instead of going placing it around the neck, we're gonna come with also the other arm stretched to the other side and place it here. You see at that real junction between the shoulder and the arm. And obviously, if we were just doing this, it will hit our back. So what we're gonna do also at the same time is to lean to the side. You don't need to do a full yoga move, we are not all super flexible, but what you want is that this area around the armpits and the shoulder will be slightly more parallel to the ground and not to the wall completely vertical. So here I'll show you how it will look like. Then you stop it here. You can just stop it at the shoulder. Up. So this is our entry for that side. See, I'm starting really parallel, going here, then going back straight. This is important, and this is also what's going to be necessary for the matrix. We're going to learn a bit of this posture of leaning to one side, going back straight, then leaning to the other side. But first, let's focus on that shoulder. Now I'll show you from there. Straight, and I come and place it here. You see there's a slight diagonal move, really little. I lean to the side, come back in position. Here is really important, we're going to start to be really close to the head. So when I say place it, I mean it. Place it. Don't go full swing with that. I mean, you can do it, but you will get the result for you really fast. It's not necessary to be too fast, it's necessary to be precise on where we place it, then coming back. So now that we know how to enter the move in that way, we're going to work on the last part, which will be how to exit the move through the shoulder wrap. So here, I'm going to start with the neck wrap. But when the staff normally will go in front, I'm going to lift my shoulder up to avoid that to happen, and the staff will then go to our shoulder, around, just down the armpit, and the end is ready to catch it. Can feel a bit strange at the beginning, but you can really visualize for yourself the point of entry, where we are going, where the staff is, and where we want it to go. So the more you can visualize those points and those pathways, more it's going to become natural for you. But obviously, working around the shoulder blade and armpit there, it's a bit weird as we're not used to it, but this trick is exactly meant to give us that control. So first, we were focusing on this one. Now we are working from a neck wrap to the exit. And we're going to keep on till we can have something controlled here. It can help also sometimes to look and to come and catch. And when this exit is also something comfortable for us, we can try to combine them together. And this is the full shoulder wrap with the entry and the exit. So here you can see that the really important part is arm leaning to the side and to the other. And by doing so, you don't need to lean from the chest, you can also bend the knee, which is help going to the side to another. When I started on contact start, I was not flexible at all, I was pretty much like a stick, but step by step you will learn how to use your body a bit more smarter way and not need so much effort for it. So here, again we place it, neck, coming back here. And obviously that from both directions. Two main points of focus that you want for this trick is what is the angle of the staff you are giving. For a lot of persons I'm teaching their tricks, the first thing people are doing is this. See, the staff is now perpendicular to me, like it's going straight. We want the staff to be parallel to the ground. It's a horizontal move, not a vertical one. This can be also a move on itself, but it's not the one we are learning today. What we want is to be as parallel to the ground as possible. And so for that, if you start with an entry like a neck wrap, it's going to work. The next thing is to be sure that you are leaning enough on the side to another and then you are coming back in the center, then going back there. It's like a three-step move. 1, 2, 3. The second one feels a bit like really short, but it's a really important one because this is where you're gonna balance the staff and be sure that it's the right position. Now, if you got that part, we can go for the second variation. Will be pretty much the same movement, so it's still a shoulder wrap, but the end we use to get in the entry is different, so it gives a really completely different visual, and I'm going to show it to you first. Yeah, it's still the same trick, but visually look really different, and it will allow us to go in more and more into this matrix feeling. So, to go there, I'm going to need the center to be on top of my hand here, and I'm going to wrap my hand till I can place the center in the exact same position that we did before. It feels a bit strange, and visually what you want is to have your elbow going in the air. Obviously we're not all flexible at the same time, but the more you can place your elbow in the air and lean to the side, the more the staff gonna be parallel to the ground and the more flat. And if you can't, it's gonna be still okay, but you see the staff gonna be more diagonal. It's just a question of aesthetic and what your body can do, but both are correct. So here, same. I'm just working on the first one till I feel comfortable with the entry because the movement instead is exactly the same that we just did. But it feels way cooler. So for this one, an easy way to get in there is also coming from the neck wrap. Catch, and the center is already there. So it's also a nice combo to go like this. So now for the exit, same exercise as before. We start by a neck wrap. But this time, we're going to lean to the side and catch it with the same hand and the side we are catching. And here you can work more and more on being comfortable to lean to the side and still be able to go slow and not be too overwhelmed by the body motion and the staff being really close to the head with really weird angle. And then when for you this is okay, you can combine both together. And again, you see here, if I'm breaking down into 2 steps, it's not to make it just easier for you, it's at the same time you make only the connection, then you can do that from the neck wrap. And there's just not one piece trick, but there's few steps in there. And if you're able to learn them all the breakdown, so much easier than to connect them together. Now that you understand those two movements, it's time also to be able to integrate them into your play. And so for that, I invite you to connect them with your neck wrap. It's like we did before, we are just neck wrap and half still. You see, I can easily go from here to a shoulder wrap to the half still. And from the half still, can come back here. We can then make them infinite. Try to explore a bit and connect them to what you already know, so they get more and more fluid, because it will not just be at the entry for you for the matrix later on, but something will be regularly in your play, and visually is something really fun, allow you to have a bit more body motion also with it. And this is the end of this tutorial. I hope I managed to make it a bit shorter this time, but still including all the elements who are necessary for me to call that a tutorial with the breakdown, the tips, and how to go further. Also, at the end of the video, I will show you a bit what that combination that you just learned will allow you to learn later on, and to get some inspiration, also motivation to learn it, drill it, and add it really clean. I always welcome any kind of feedback. If you are blocked anywhere, please let me know in the comments. And also, if you like the tutorial, please let a message in the comments. It's always welcome. And I'll see you in the next one.